Hey, Shalom. I like to give all praises, glory, and honors to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, salutations, and blessings to the elect who firmly believe in Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Right? The title of this lesson is going to be entitled Impulses, Urges, and Emotions. Impulses, Urges, and Emotions. Right now, these are all traits in which brothers got to monitor, while being in this faith, while being in this truth, right? These are adjectives, that we all got to monitor, being a man of the Lord, serving Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, because acting upon these feelings and emotions can cost you your salvation, it can cost you your life, right? So, I wanted to get a definition of impulsive, right? Because that's what you're being when you move on particular feelings and emotions, right? Impulsive, acting or done without forethought, acting as an impulse, right? So you got people out there who act without forethought. You got people out there who act without weighing options. You got people out there who act without, weighing the consequences and repercussions of particular actions. They move off of their impulse, you know. Now, there's been moments, where I may have moved off an impulse, you know, and, pay for it later, pay for it later, and you gain, wisdom in certain actions, as such, but as men of the Lord, as out there serving Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, we got to make sure that we have our wits, about ourselves. We got to make sure that we're in control of our emotions. When a brother may tell us to do something, we can't have an attitude about it. We can't have a response even, It's just the Lord put the spirit upon a brother to say something, to give an order, or recommendation, or even an advice. Not everything requires an response, and through the spirit, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai always reveal those, through the spirit, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai always reveal those, right? So, yeah, let me see what we got for urges. Let me see what we got for urges. Urges, meaning, right? It says to earnestly or persistently to persuade someone to do something. He urged her to come and stay with us. A strong desire or impulse, right? So it ties right back on into impulse. And a lot of times it's a strong desire. Sometimes you may have a strong desire to respond. Sometimes you may have a strong desire to deal with a woman that you may not particularly should be dealing with. Sometimes you may have the urge to, you know, spend money that you shouldn't be spending, right? Sometimes you have the urge to deal with a woman when you know you're not in the financial position or even spiritual position to be dealing with a woman. We got to control, our urges, right? We got to control our urges. Let's see what we got for emotions. Let's see. It says emotion, a natural, instinctive state of mind deriving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationships with others. That's right. So we gotta monitor our moods, and what happens with moods. Moods change. Moods aren't there to define who we are. Our character defines who we are, and our character is based upon our actions. So if we act upon every mood that we may be in that may not be conducive to us, in this ministry, it can cost us. It can cost us. It says instinctive or intuitive feeling as distinguished from reasoning or knowledge, right? So there was a point in time to where, I had got into a situation even on my job, you know, to where I had to actually put hands on a fellow employee, but I weighed my options out, I monitored my emotions, and I didn't move off impulse, you know, and the Lord justified and vindicated me in that moment, to where my job was preserved. I didn't get fired as opposed to the other individual who got fired. You know, everything was in self defense, and the way the Lord put the Spirit upon me to move accordingly, it went in my favor. So that's, through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shemi Shai, when we out there on the highways and byways, when we out there on our daily travels, we got to make sure that, we're equipped with the Spirit, and that's why it's important to, have the scriptures, within us. That's why it's very important to have the scriptures within us, because, I believe, 10%, it's all about 10% of what happens to you and 90% on how you react to what happens to you. There's nothing wrong with taking a low. Proverbs chapter 25, verse 28, it says, "He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls." That's right. We got to have rule over our own spirit. We got to be control of our urges, impulse, and emotions. We got to be in control of that. And how does one gain control of his impulses, urges, and emotions? By being tapped in with the Spirit, by being in league with Yahweh Shemi Shai. Because if you know the scripture and situations arise, you got to know. You got to talk to yourself like self-control. Self-control. Rule your spirit. Control your spirit. Calm down. If I do this, this may happen. If I do that, that may happen. Because we got to understand that our purpose is to serve Yahweh Shemi Shai, and we can't engage in anything that may compromise that. You know what I'm saying? We can't get into any type of situations that's going to compromise us going out there on the highways and byways, on the respected day in which you may go out, when doing shows and doing these lessons, right? So, self-control is very important, when even dealing with alcohol, even dealing with women, spending money and making money, even in the spirit. Scriptures talk about too much honey. Let me bring that out real quick. We want to be balanced in everything. Like the scriptures say, a false balance is an abomination to the Lord. That's right. Let me get a Proverbs. Oh, that's scripture right above it. It says, "It is not good to eat much honey. So for men to search their own glory is not glory." That's right, because what's in representation of this honey? This word. You got guys out there that's seeking after vainglory. We know who they are, and the Lord exposes them, right? The guys who want to be a part of something, right? It says, "It is not good to eat much honey." So for men to search their own glory is not glory. That's right, because they're seeking after vainglory. That's why, they want to, there's nothing wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to learn all the breakdowns. You're supposed to gain knowledge and information, but you got guys doing it for the wrong reason. Sometimes you got individuals out there that dig for certain information, may do a lesson about it just so they can get applause from other brethren in the ministry. You're not, if you have that mindset, you're not in this truth for the right reasons. And Yahweh Shemi Shai will get rid of you, because you're seeking your own glory. You're seeking for a like. You're seeking for a view. You're seeking for a compliment. Yahweh Shemi Shai will get rid of you. Right? And we seen cases, of guys, who had that spirit, right? Um, Let me get Proverbs 25. Let me jump up to 16. It says, "Hast thou found honey? Eat so much as is sufficient for thee." That's right. You got to eat this roll that's sufficient for thee. You got guys out there doing too much, man. You got guys out there that want to do too much. What happens when you do too much? You end up gassing out, and you end up falling out of the truth. It says, "Least thou be filled therewith and vomited." That's right. You're going to vomit everything that you threw up. I mean, you're going to vomit everything that you swallowed down. You're going to vomit up, you know, in the sense of not going out there on the highways and byways anymore, not teaching anymore, not believing anymore, not rehearsing the righteous acts. Brother seen this time and time again. Like that guy in Baby Boy said, Ving Rhames' character. He's like, "Oh, this stuff that you see in the street may be new to you, but it's a rerun to me." Roughly paraphrasing. I'm saying that brothers ain't been in the faith all too long, but we have our experiences to how certain guys particularly moved in the truth. Now the apostles, they got the, ultimate experience, amongst brethren in this faith because they've been in this truth 30 plus years. It may be to the point to where they may even call certain things that may happen. You know what I'm saying? Because they see certain personalities recycled. And we brothers, over here, we have that experience of certain brothers, recycled. So that's why it's about, moving accordingly in this truth with a sincere heart, and a contrite spirit. That's what it's about. Scriptures talk about being temperate. Temperate. I believe I spelled that right. Oh, let's see. All things. What's that? Corinthians. Temperate, yeah. It says, 1 Corinthians chapter 9, I'm going to start at verse 24. It says, "Know ye not they that which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that ye may obtain." That's right, run in the race. Get hip to this truth. Teach the word. Be instant in season and out of season, right? Because you got guys out there that's hating from the nosebleeds. Guys out there hating from the bleachers. They're not even in the race, but they got something to say. Right? It says verse 25, "And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things." Let's see what that says real quick. Let's see what that means, Slakia, as far as temperate. Let's see. All right, and as far as context, I'm gonna read the second definition. It says temperate, showing moderation or self-restraint. Not doing too much. So when we drink, it has to be in moderation. When you're dealing with your woman, I said when you're dealing with your woman, it has to be in moderation. You're dealing with the word, it has to be in moderation. Everything requires restraint. Everything requires restraint. All through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. And if you feel like you don't have it, you got to pray for it. If it's still hard for you when you pray for it, you got to fast for it. Right? You got to be temperate in all things. When it's a boxer, he abstains from sex. For what? About 8 to 10 weeks? That's about as long as a camp, lasts. When you boxing, you got a fight coming up. You practice the semen retention, because the more you have sex, the more strength leaves your body. Find yourself with weak knees. You'll be that much more easier to get knocked out, when your life force is drained from you. So you got to be temperate. Got to have restraint. Got to have restraint in talking back when you're being rebuked or reproved. You know, it says, I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection. That's right. We got to keep our bodies in subjection, controlling our impulses, urges, and emotions. Right? And how do we keep it under subjection? By way of the word. You got to have the word in you in order to keep your body in subjection. It says, least that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. That's right, because you don't want to be a hypocrite in this faith, you know? Telling somebody to do something, but you're not doing it, you know? It's a hypocrite. Refrain. That's right. This is one that hits it on the nail, you know, pursuant to this lesson. This is the book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 18, verse 30. It says, go not after thy lust, but refrain thyself from thine appetites. That's right. And appetites come in all forms. We got to have restraint when it comes to eating meat, you know. We should be, hey, man, you know, recommendation, you know, I try the best of my ability myself. You know, if you could just eat meat, maybe 3-4 days tops out the week. You know, the scriptures speak upon not being too greedy upon meats. And if you do eat meat, let it be light. You know, let it be light. It says, if thou givest thy soul the desires that please her, she will make thee a laughingstock to thine enemies that malign thee. It says, take not pleasure in much good cheer, neither be tied to the expense thereof. That's right. You shouldn't always be looking for a good time. We have to be, we have to show self-restraint and even having a good time. You know, going out, partying. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. I mean, we're not even the time to be partying, for real. You know, because you over there trying to psych yourself out as to the reality, you know. We living in a time of war, so when you living in when being in this mindset of war, you know, we can't afford to be distracted. We can't afford to be distracted, you know, by the wiles of the devil, because the wiles of the devil is a good time. That's part of his tricks. You know, people want to essentially have a whole lot of money so they can essentially have a good time. We understand that this truth is not about having a good time. We understand that this truth is not a hangout. We understand that this truth requires blood, sweat, and tears, man. You know, that's what it requires. You know, you got guys in it for the wrong reasons. It says, take not pleasure in much good cheer, neither be tied to the expense thereof. To the expense thereof. You know, because people are tied to that feeling. People are tied to that emotion of having a good time. We say, oh, sunglasses and Advil. Last night was mad real. You got Jake tied to the expense thereof. You know, or that feeling after you have sex with a woman. You got Jake tied to the expense thereof. You know? So we got to have self-control being in this faith. You know? It says, be not made a beggar by banqueting upon borrowing when thou hast nothing in thy purse, for thou shalt lie in wait for thine own life and be talked on. That's right. So you don't want to lead a beggar's life either. You know, constantly asking for money, you know, because if that's an attribute that you possess, you're going to end up getting talked about, you know. Scripture speak upon, if a man don't work, he don't eat. So you also got to, you know, put the own work in for yourself. Strive to earn a dollar for yourself if you have an able body. You know, if you're able bodied to do so. You know, the Lord knows. And you know. We know. You know what we're capable of. Right? So let me read verse 27 again. It says, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means what I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. You know, And that's what happened to King Saul. He became a castaway because he couldn't follow instructions. He spared, Agag, which was an Amalek, a so-called Jew. A so-called Jew, right? Let me bring out that account. I'm going to close out. Brothers get the point. This is 1 Samuel chapter 15. And let's start at the top. It says, Samuel also said unto Saul, the Lord sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore hearken thou unto the voice of the words of Yahweh. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that he had. This is an order, right? And spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant, suckling, ox and sheep, and camel and ass. And Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Telaim, 200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah. And Saul came to a city of Amalek and laid wait in the valley. And Saul said unto the Kenites, Go, depart, get ye down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For ye showed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. So he's already breaking order. But Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep and of the oxen, of the fatlings and of the lambs, and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile and refused, that they destroyed utterly. Then came the word of Yahweh unto Samuel, saying, It repenteth me that have set up Saul to be king. For he is turned back from following me, and hath not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto Yahweh all night. So these are examples of what not to do. We have examples in the scriptures of what to do and what not to do. There is a house of Saul. There's a house of Saul today. And it's clearly evident who are of the house of David, King David, and the house of Saul. It says, And when Samuel arose early to meet Saul in the morning, it was told Samuel, saying, Saul came to Carmel, and behold, he set him up a place, and is going about, and passed on, gone down to Gilgal. And Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said unto him, Blessed be thou of Yahweh, I have performed the commandment of Yahweh. And Samuel said, What meaneth then this, bleating of the sheep in mine ears, and the lowing of the oxen which I hear? And Saul said, They have brought them from the Amalekites. For the people spared the best of the sheep and of the oxen to sacrifice unto Yahweh thy power, and the rest we have utterly destroyed. Then Samuel said unto Saul, Stay, and I will tell thee what Yahweh hath said to me this night. And he said unto him, Say on. And Samuel said, When thou wast little in thine own sight, wast thou not made the head of the tribes of Israel? And Yahweh anointed thee king over Israel? And Yahweh sent thee on a journey, and said, Go and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed? Wherefore then didst thou not obey the voice of Yahweh, but didst fly upon the spoil, and didst evil in the sight of Yahweh? And Saul said unto Samuel, Yea, I obeyed the voice of Yahweh, and have gone the way which Yahweh sent me, and have brought Agag the king of Amalek, and utterly destroyed the Amalekites. But the people took up the spoiled sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto Yahweh thy power in Gilgal. And Samuel said, Have the Lord Yahweh as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of Yahweh? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. For the rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness, which are all emotions. Being rebellious is an emotion, and impulsive. Being stubborn is your urge, your emotions, right? So we got to abstain from that in righteousness. It says, For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of Yahweh, he have also rejected thee from being king. And Saul said unto Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of Yahweh in thy words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. That's why we rather to obey God rather than men. You know, we stick to the script, we stick to the word, and may Yahweh Shem Yahushua have mercy upon us in doing so. So that pretty much brings a conclusion to the lesson. Impulses, urges, and emotions. We gotta control them. It's hard. It's hard sometimes, depending on the brother, but we gotta show some restraint, self-control. Right. So with that, I like to give all praises, glory, and honors to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaKadosh. I like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, salutation, and blessings to the elect. Shalom.